Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Got a lot of topics to get through today, so we're going to get going right here, right away. So, welcome to a live stream, which will contain a presentation to start with, like basically a bunch of topics, and then it'll be followed by a section of Q&A. First off, supply chain commentary. Where should I get miners? Okay, a little over a week, and in a little over a week, orders will resume with Nebra, who is also shipping out at this time. So one big side note so far is that Nebra has publicized a problem that occurred during shipping. Upon receipt, the miner. So if you are getting your Nebra miner, you should open it up and make sure the card is reseated or pushed back down. So part of it came up, it vibrated up off the board, and so then you just need to reseat it. Now, it sounds like Parley Labs is willing to do this fix. However, if you'd like them to just send yours along and you can do it on your own, then you can contact them with your order number via email and then tell them just to send it as is, and they will send it off to you. CalChip, over last week, had a raffle to meet the 250 miners per day threshold. So you had to fill out a form and then you'd get selected and then you get contacted. Well, a bunch of people signed up, but they did not get back to them in time. So they opened those back up for orders. And on Friday, there was about 1,000 orders that were ready to be, that were opened up. And that was a very limited supply. So those were taken, it was now taken down. They've all sold out of those now. So I think if they are going back to the 250 day, then it'll be back to the raffle dispensation model. Please note that there are no discount codes and no referrals allowed for these. Also on CalChip's website, I noticed today that there are Kerlink miners, which are now available for pre-order. That is about $449 for US and EU. There was also an outdoor unit that was substantially more expensive. I think it was like $800 and some dollars. And it appeared like it was only for the EU. So guess go out and get some of those for pre-order. Discount codes and referral codes are not working for those either. So just to let you know. Bobcat continues to ship regularly, hitting with another batch this week that's going out. They're still taking orders, and then they're quoting on that 12 to 20 week lead time. All right, next question or next section is support. So what has been the predominant support issue since the live stream, since the last one? So the one that I saw a lot was memory issues. So the advice from Helium was to leave it on and it will get rectified. They were taking miner names via their Discord and then just rifling through them. Shout out to the Helium staff for doing that. That's just pounding out on getting those things updated. So that's really awesome of them to do that. Also going offline, you hit this from time to time, but there's a rookie mistake in here that I just want to keep fresh because it will, even if you're really experienced on this, it's going to get you at some point. So the rookie mistake is bad cables. If you're connected via Ethernet, you need to check your Ethernet cable. If it's seated all the way in, one time I lost about a day and a half of syncing because the cable wasn't pushed in all the way. Also, another time I was trying to get ahead and sync as much of the miner as I could. And so I grabbed an old Xbox 360 cable and plugged that in. And I didn't discover it until later that it didn't have all of the pins active. Like you look at the little jack and there was only 3 wires in there. And so that was really frustrating. So check your cables. It's a rookie mistake and it will happen to all of us. So someone else reported something similar to that this week. Relayed still seems to be an issue. There have been some very odd issues in Romania as well, but the only other problem that has been solved as far as related to relaying was that people just upgraded their routers, not their miners, their routers. Upgrading the miners is done usually by Helium, and you can just leave it on and it will do it automatically. The last one for support section is I just want to give a shout out to the Helium Hotspot utility app. So this is different from the Helium app that you use your wallet in. So what I liked the icon looks like the OG white hotspot. So you pick that up and download it. It's from your app store or whatever for Android, wherever you're getting your apps. It's the same on both platforms. So I like that one a bit better for quick diagnostics because you don't have to have a wallet. It's not, used in conjunction with Helium, although it does connect to your miner. So you can pair with your miner real quick and then get diagnostic information really quick, or even set the password if the password for the Wi-Fi gets updated. So it's so easy. I've been able to explain to hosts how to do it, and they do that on their own. So really recommend it. It's a very lightweight app, and it gets the job done for those couple things that you needed to use. And so I'd really recommend checking that out. Again, that's the Helium Hotspot utility app, different from the official Helium app. All right, looked over my YouTube comments this week, and I'm still working through a lot of the comments on them. But a couple of things came up that repeat a lot, so I wanted to go over those. So, which antennas have I used, and how have they done? So, I've gotten over 30 kilometers with the 9 dBi, the 8 dBi, and the 5.8 dBi. I've used all of those and tested them out. You may have seen last week on the live stream, there was a 5.8 behind me, and that was very much recommended by a lot of the people in the community. And so I tested it out, and while it was good, I was surprised at my results that I was still hitting those incredible distances. It still seemed that the fidelity, and I haven't gone back and reviewed all the numbers from Helium Hiker, which I showed in my is my new antenna better video. So I still need to go back and do that, but by and large, I think that the earnings were a little bit lower on the 5.8. So it seems like the 8 dBi is the sweet spot for me right now, and it may not be for you. So just keep that in mind, and you can iterate through those as you see fit, or letting them out, borrow them from your friends, all that kind of stuff. All right, another question that I saw was lightning arresters. Are they necessary? What do they do, and where do you put them? I do have a video covering that. You definitely want to put a lightning arrestor on the lowest spot that you can. But if really the key thing is if you're outdoors, it's very much recommended. You want to try and protect lightning from entering your house as much as possible. And they also not just deal with lightning, but they also deal with static electricity. So it's good to keep that stuff out, and getting to ground as fast as possible also improves I think it also improves your earnings, or at least the functionality or reception of EMI and your radio signal frequency, all that kind of stuff at once. So I've enjoyed my results with it. So, and I think it was a little bit better when I got my grounding set up really well. Another example question from YouTube comments was, my miner is on the way. I've ordered it, and I'm currently hosting a miner. What do I do to make sure I don't get half the rewards due to the proximity score increasing if I have 2 miners? So one thing I do is immediately when you get your new miner, set it up, connect it, assert the location, and yes, you will see 2 miners on your on Helium Explorer. It will not discount your proximity score until it actively starts mining. So what you can do is get yours up to that sync threshold to 99% or 99.5%, and then start thinking about pulling the plug on your old miner that you're taking down. And that's how to try and maximize your rewards over that gap. And then you'll want to make sure that when you unplug it, it may still show that it's in the proximity score or included in that calculation for a day and a half. That's about how long it takes to get kicked out. So you can either be down on rewards, like completely, like if you swap out and you're waiting for your new one to sync up, or you take a day and a half of your normal rewards and then get the new one back up to the 100% score or the 1 score. So that's it for the YouTube comments. Next is the People's Hotspot. I like to talk about the People's Hotspot. That's the program that I created to basically, hey, you made an order. The manufacturers can't get it out to everyone in the time that they would love to get it to. So here, you can borrow these miners that I've gotten for being a YouTube influencer, and you get 95% of the proceeds, and then the remaining 5% goes to a community fund, which kind of pays for shipping, helps out. We got surprised with some import fees when I sent over the EU miner, so we had to pay those. So it kind of helps in that. And then if there's antennas that need to be bought or something like that, we're going to try and decide on that 5% what to do with it as a community. So, but primarily so far it's just paid for shipping. So for each of the People's Hotspots, there's Puny Pecan Eel, and we used a discovery mode this week to try and help with positioning a little bit better and get some more data on that. They were basically saying, hey, if I put it on a box, and make it go up a little bit higher, does it earn more? And so we did some testing with that and got some good results out of those experiments. And one of the things that they thought was worth trying, oh no, definitely not. The responses decrease, and we'll be talking more about discovery mode in a little bit. For Funny Gray Seal, the seal is down right now. It's going to be embarking to its new host, so that's exciting. It'll actually be going from one coast to the other, East Coast to West Coast. So this will be fun. Digital Lava Dragon. I missed this on the last live stream, but it is over in the UK mining away, and it's done really well. They were able to reposition some miners such that to add to the net effect, and so that's doing really well. They're really happy with the results, and some big news this week. For the first time, the People's Hotspot has hit consensus. So that's awesome. So I can't remember the exact total for HNT, but it was somewhere, I think, in the 20s for the rewards for that. So that was awesome. So the host was very excited, and of course I am as well. That's awesome that they got elected. I haven't been elected to consensus for a month or two now. So I would love to get it again. It's a great day when you get elected to consensus. We also tried discovery mode, and it basically did the expected results there. There was a desire to try it again under different weather conditions to see if there was any results there. So we're waiting some different weather conditions, and then we'll try it out again. And again, we'll talk about discovery mode in a little bit. All right, the next section of the live stream is on think tank and speculations. So where are we headed soon? This is just kind of what's been banging around my head the last week about things that have been going on and where we're going, what we're doing in the Helium community and that kind of stuff. So I couldn't go this week without stating the obvious. There's a crypto crash going on. So a big disclaimer before I tell you all these words that are bouncing around in my head. I am not a crypto expert. Nor am I a financial or investment advisor. So always take what I say with a grain of salt, and please make your own decisions on this. From what I've heard this week, HNT is still ranked quite high on the crypto leaderboards for some of the people that I follow that are a little bit more knowledge or a lot more knowledgeable on crypto. So they like how it's performing during the crash. And so one of the observations they made was proof of work crypto seemed to crash harder. So this was a good sign for Helium. I also saw that people were worried that they've made so much money mining that they might be underwater in their taxes if it comes due and the crypto is still at a low price. So if that's a legit concern for you, you can think about okay, well, you got to probably hold on to your tokens for a while. And honestly, with Helium, well, we just need to get to work. So I thought about 3 things that we need to do right now as a community, and as the Helium community. So number 1 is validators. The network is continuing to slow down, and there's just more reasons to have validators to improve reward consistency and verification. Okay, that's the number 1. Validators are going to be awesome. When we get there, it's going to help meet a lot of demands, and continue cracking down on any amount of gaming that is being done. Number 2, devices. So if you've read that awesome article about the Helium flywheel, definitely recommend it. So the flywheel cannot self-sustain unless there are cool devices out there that people are willing to pay for. And those are Internet of Things, IoT devices. So if you're doing as much as you can growing coverage, but you need something else to do, look to creating these devices, or supporting those who are. Ubiquitous coverage, meeting a need that people and companies will pay top dollar to solve. That's our problem that we need to solve. And so if you are working on devices and would like a way to anonymously share your ideas about what's cooking, or if you're publicly working on devices, please send me over your YouTube channel, your blog, your website, your GitHub repo. I would absolutely be ecstatic to give you a shout out to all the subscribers here, and promote your platform, because the devices are the key. If we have a network but there's no devices, then it won't be profitable for us long term. So we need devices that are meeting these needs. Number 3, obviously coverage. We're all there. It still needs to grow. And the key here is remain profitable. So I could imagine after this crash that maybe profitability could be questioned a little bit. The network has grown. And of course, as we've been stating for a long time now, the rewards, the HNT mined will go down as the network grows. And of course, then with the halving coming as well. So, there's a lot more of that healthy skepticism on how profitable will this be over the long term, or how much longer will it be profitable for. And the key is the network still needs maintenance, so it still needs to be profitable to maintain these hotspots and get rewarded for that. So maybe if the profitability dips too much, then we might need more commitment from investors. And the interesting thought in here is, for those of us that are hodling all of our tokens, that might mean us. We might have to crack open our wallets and invest a little bit more to make sure that it remains profitable. But it's the 3 things. We need validators. It's really important. We need awesome devices that will meet needs of people. And then we need the coverage as large as we can, good coverage. So that's it for Think Tank and speculations about things. If you got some more comments, throw it in. All right, our special topic today, and then we'll get to the live Q&A. What has been creating the most buzz of late? And this week it is discovery mode. So if you are the owner of a hotspot, you can go into the Helium app. You need to make sure that you've updated it, and click on your hotspot name that you own. Then go to the cog up in the top right, and then select discovery mode. And then it will come up, and it will have a big button at the bottom that says begin new session. So when you're ready for a test, you want to tap that button. It will take about 5 minutes to rack up the responses if there are hotspots nearby you. And then that will recognize your transmission. So far, you don't need to set your antenna information in order for discovery mode to work. It just exists on its own. So let's see here, more information on discovery mode. Oh, it also seemed like beacon activity dropped a little bit after this. So I'm not sure if they're tied together or not. So that's a little bit of speculation, but something I noticed. I don't know if y'all have noticed something similar or not. So the limit of these sessions is 5 sessions of discovery mode per day per wallet. And so that basically one hotspot, or actually it's per. It's not 5 per hotspot. It's 5 per wallet, as far as I understand. I was able to not only use discovery mode this week for the people's hotspot, but I also used it myself. So the 5.8 dBi antenna that I had last week, I was able to speed up my testing a little bit more between the 8 dBi and the 5.8. And for some reason, earnings tanked this week, not only for me, but also all my hosts. So I was interested in that, but then also trying to test out my antenna results. And this messes with my ability to like compare apples to apples or HNT to HNT, as I'm doing these tests, minor to minor, or antenna to antenna. So I considered using discovery mode to test going back to the 8 dBi. And so then I did. I tested it, and I was able to pick up at least one more response. And then just before the live stream here, I was able to do another test, and actually my responses are down today. Just doing another test off the cuff. So that'll be interesting. There is some variability in this, but by and large, discovery mode should help you determine which antenna is better for you, or which setup. So if you're going to move it from this window over here to this window over there, or put it up on some boxes, you might want to do your discovery mode in between sessions, and then that will help improve your earnings. So big tip there. I did see after a couple of tries on the discovery mode, there was actually 2 unable to initiate sessions in a row. I don't know. I don't know if I tried to do them too quickly together or not, but I did find that interesting. So I just had to wait a little bit longer, and then I was able to start another session. So bottom line is, more responses should mean more rewards. So I was able to switch back to the 8 dBi, and earnings improved a little bit more. So yeah. I see the comment about asking if when I said my earnings went down. So it's not because of the price. It was more so the HNT mined went down significantly, and I didn't do anything different. I didn't change anything. It was just by and large across the board. A lot of myself and my hosts also dropped in their mining results. So big recommendation for discovery mode in trying to push your earnings up as much as you can. Make use of that while you can. It's a great time for experimentation and making your hotspot a little bit higher. What if you added another height to your, a little bit more height to your antenna or something like that? Yes, my 8 dBi works better for my location. It is pretty flat, and there's a river going nearby, and so I think there's some good signal propagation there too. So but it just happens to work best for how high my antenna is and where the hotspots are in conjunction with that. I haven't checked out this tool, but Hotspot RF is recommended as a way to kind of visualize what your coverage would be if you, at a certain elevation, what that would look like. So, all right, that is it for discovery mode. If you have questions on discovery mode or any of the things that I've talked about today on the live stream, feel free to put that in the chat. I'm going to go back to the beginning and see some questions if they came up, and I'll try to address those first, and then keep queuing up some questions, and we'll try and get at least 5 minutes here of Q&A here. What is the max line of sight you're able to consistently get? So that's about 31 kilometers, I think, was what I've been able to see. And there was a good question this week of like, well, do you know anything about their antenna that they're using? Only in one location do I do I know what, and it's one of my, or actually two of my hosts. One is using a 9 dBi, and another one is using an 8 dBi, and they're able to communicate for 31 kilometers. I think I've also seen 35 kilometers with my own 8 dBi. So how do you run Discover mode in the Helium app? We talked about that. So go back and watch that part if you need to. It was about, I think, 20 minutes into the stream. How do you level an I-shaped mount for an antenna on the roof with an angle for a top? I don't know what exactly the I-shaped mount is. I'd recommend, I mean, getting some levels, the small ones that you have at a hardware store, or there's even little tiny uh, plastic ones that have a sticky side on them, and you can buy those, and they're almost like temporary. Sometimes they come with like furniture you get or something like that. So you stick it to the side, and then you want to put it both in the north south direction and the east west direction for making sure your antenna is absolutely level, pointing straight up and down, especially if you're going higher dBi. That's really important. Let's see here. How are devices connected to each other? So that uses radio frequency to transmit. Right now, it's the network overall is designed to receive signal. That's what you get rewarded on. The better reception you have of the lower WAN frequencies, then the more HNT you will get as far as rewards. So that's how they communicate. Now, in the interim, while we don't have lots of IoT devices yet, which I talked about at the beginning or in the middle of that, is that right now we're using hotspots to transmit to each other to verify coverage. So that's why how they are connected to each other. Now on the back side, the back end of that is that they use our Wi-Fi and our internet connections. They're like renting internet from us in a secure way, so it travels back through the internet to send that up to Helium's to the blockchain and reward transactions. So how do we get access to the people's hotspots? So you can contact me on Discord. You can, I'll definitely need your order number. And then I sort that in a queue of all the other order numbers that I've received. And you are welcome to be as anonymous as you'd like with that. Obviously, when we ship it to you, I'm going to need your address. And then I send that only to the person previous to hosting to you. And I don't even ask you for your address until it is ready to ship and 100% certain that it's going to ship and it's going to you. So I really respect anonymity for everybody in the program. So that is how you do it. What do I know about the long AP miner? Not much. It's only that I think it's over in Europe is the one where it's only available over there. And so I haven't been up to that just because it's over in the EU and I'm not in the EU. So I don't have a lot of knowledge on it, but that's a good shout out. I should probably prep a little bit more for the next live stream and cover that. Checking through some more questions here. Have you or anyone else been doing traffic capture or monitoring on the Hotspots Ethernet and LoRa antenna? So the LoRa antenna, like as far as like communication of devices, is supposed to all be kind of encrypted, such that if they have data that they're sending over the wire, I don't see that. So that would be the thing there. So I mean, there's plenty of videos showing that on the back end, as far as like someone who actually paid for the data and then like showing the actual data that they did. As far as network monitoring, I've been doing a little bit of that, just monitoring as far as like what it's doing, but I haven't been investigating like in detail about that. Why is grounding a big part, and how can you ground if you live high up in a condo? What the recommendation is, I assume that your antenna is still outdoors, even if you're in a condo. If there is a balcony, most of the balconies that are um, built these days have to have grounding embedded in them. So if there is metal, then you can kind of assume, but um, but not totally, that there is grounding present. You should still verify with like your landlord or something like that. I saw somebody in Romania that has witnesses at 140 kilometers. How is that? Well, either they have great range, they're on a mountaintop with a great antenna and all that kind of stuff, or I've seen some other instances where it's an attempt at a light gateway. So while you have the gateway is um, part of the gateway is hosted at one location and then received at another. So that's how some of those things could be going on. Do you think it's possible for me to buy and place an 8 dBi 1.3 meter rack antenna indoors near a window? Yes, I tested that. I guess the first test I ever did when I got my miner, my OG hotspot, was just in the window with the stock antenna and then in the window with an 8 dBi antenna. And I was not able to connect to even one that was like a mile away from me. A mile, less than 2 kilometers for sure. So um, that's what I did. And I just didn't see the results. And it could be that my Windows had that special covering that could not, that impedes signal, or and I think I was, yeah, I pulled down the screens as well, because that's another tip is make sure your bug screens are pulled down. And I think I saw someone else had said, well, what about plastic bug screens? And I think regardless, that would still, I think, affect transmission if it was plastic or metal. Homebrew enclosure using Tupperware. Oh my goodness. Um, yeah, so maybe the shout out for Amazon. I did use a broadband. I'm actually using it right now. A broadband cable box that I bought on Amazon to house the miner just temporarily outside. That was another interesting thing, is like putting my miner outside. I thought it would really increase earnings, um, but it hasn't. It was not a significant change. I think I gained maybe one more witness, and so that was going from a approximately 32-foot long cable down to a 5-foot cable, and still with a lightning arrestor. So very interesting information that I was able to um, get a test together, and wow, I was just really surprised. I thought, as many people are like, "Oh, you want as short a cable as possible." I thought it would make more of a difference, but it didn't. So that's interesting. How would you ground on a balcony, though? So if there's metal, you'd still want to basically tie in your, like, say, lightning arrestor to I have it, the green cable, but whatever copper wire is coming from the lightning arrestor, then you just want some metal exposed that you fix to the metal part of your balcony. And basically any part on that is going to be, um, if it's metal, is going to make connection and then ground out if it's built according to new code. I never put my antenna in my attic. I have seen other people do it, and it works quite well. If you don't want to get on top of your roof, that is an acceptable solution. I was talking about upgrading my equipment at home. Could I give them more details? Modem, router. So I upgraded with UPSs, and I also upgraded um, my router as well. So changing routers is something I wanted a little bit more functionality in my router, but any standard router will do, as long as you have. I mean, any more recent router is perfectly acceptable to use. Looking through more questions here. Why the lightning arrestor at the bottom? Why not connect it directly to the bottom of your antenna? So think about this: is if you have your lightning arrestor right below your antenna, and then some static discharge builds up, not even lightning, and then hits your line down here. Well, it wants to go down, and if it were to, it wouldn't travel back up to escape. It would go down. And so that would mean going into your house. And so you don't want that. You want the signal to go as far down. And so by having the lightning arrestor lower right before it enters your house, then that's the last possible moment where it can still escape out of your signal line and ground out through the lightning arrestor. I'm getting so excited about it. Lightning arrestors and grounding. Just another shout out for check the comments on my videos. I usually have a pinned comment and also a pinned comment, and then I edit the description if there are certain things that will improve your signal. Maybe I was just plain wrong in what I showed. There's another comment about my service loop. One of them is going up instead of going down, and that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah, the one shout out for how to contact me is really the only thing I really participate on are YouTube comments and then Discord. That's the best place to get. I've gotten some comments or questions or whatever communications on other platforms, and I just frankly I don't want to manage more than those queues right now, because otherwise I lose sight of the responses, and I want to make sure that I'm diligent to where I'm responding to. So YouTube comments and on Discord, those are my primary things that I use. And occasionally I might comment on something on Twitter or something like that, but that's it. So all right, we are at 37 minutes. It has been so fun talking with y'all. If I've got any more questions, last chance to queue them up, and then I'll answer a couple more, and then we'll call it good. Can I connect it in one city and then try in another city to see what gives me more? Yeah, absolutely. You're still going to have to do your location assert in order to do that. I did think about one other way to maybe manage the transition between, if you have a hosted miner right now and then you get your own miner, about asserting locations differently, to have it someplace far away so it doesn't affect your score in the interim. I don't know if that would work. They would not advise it, but then if you're still actively trying to mine, then all of a sudden it tries to communicate with your miner and then it gets invalidated. I don't know if there would be some weird penalty for that going on. So that might be an interesting thing as far as location. What is a location assert? That's a great question. Location asserts have to be done for your miner to tell it, for Helium to understand where your miner is in the world in order to get rewarded with HNT and also send out and verify your signal. It needs to make sure that your location is correct. And how it does that is by sounding out to the other miners along. That is a really quick process. I wouldn't say it's immediate, but it's within, I'd say a few minutes ish. I mean, it does it pretty quickly. You do that during the setup process. And then of course, if you ever move locations, but it is a very quick thing to do. Have you thought about putting miners on municipal telephone poles? Oh my goodness. I have not heard of that. I didn't even realize that you could even do that. I would not advise you to go climbing telephone poles on your own. I'm sure that there's not only yes, you have to rent space, but you're still going to need approval to do that. So be careful with that. So if the antenna is on the roof and the lightning arrestor is at the ground floor, then that mean that I'd have to run the antenna wire back up the wall to the miner located 2 stories up? That's interesting. Why you would do that? Because you'd want your cable to come in, and wherever it enters into the house to go to your miner, that's where you'd want your lightning arrestor. So you don't have to it would be in line with the cable going to your miner. I hope I answered that well. Some diagrams would probably be useful. Maybe I'll have to cover that in a future video. All right, one more question. Multiple hotspots there synced successfully. One has been stuck saying it needs attention, but is fully synced and not relayed. And in outbounds are green. Any advice? Oof, that's a tough one. Reboots would be the only thing I could think of for what might be doing that. I'm not sure what would be causing that to stall out if it's fully synced. The needs attention sometimes is just it. I don't know. It seems like it's errant sometimes. Like sometimes even I get a needs attention and I'm like, I didn't do anything. It's mining. It's been fine. So, yeah, that's interesting. What antenna would I recommend for big cities? That is, I've covered a lot. You got to experiment, really. Maybe a good one to start with is the 5.8 dBi, but I'm in the suburbs, so it really works best for the 8 dBi. So, all right. Thanks everyone for your questions and supporting this great community of the People's Network. I'd like to encourage you to get involved by helping answer questions, in the ask comments on my channel, and then get on the Helium Discord, participate in the community. Let's all learn from each other. Ask your questions there, and then also give me your feedback after this live stream in the comments. What did you like? What did you not like? Are there any suggestions for topics or whatnot? So thank you again for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. I'll also drop a link in the description to the course that I created that is basically all my Helium videos that I will continue to curate. That means improve, especially that one on why are my earnings so low. And I will do that as I go forward, and always appreciate all the clicks on the referral links. So till next time, peace.